The following AOR live stream is brought to you by the following sponsors: Elgato Gaming, Hype Energy Drinks, Thrustmaster and GT Omega Racing. Make sure to check them out in the description down below after the race. Hello and welcome to Apex Online Racing's live coverage of the F1 2018 League with Hype Energy. This stream will bring you live coverage of F2 on the PlayStation 4 from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, better known as Interlagos, for the Brazilian Grand Prix. First hosting a race, a non-championship race in 1972, the track then was much longer at nearly 5 miles and very, very bumpy indeed. So much so that it actually moved to Rio de Janeiro from 1981 before returning to Interlagos in 1990 at the height of Senna mania. Its now late placing in the calendar means that Alonso, Raikkonen, Hamilton, Button and Vettel have all won. The year has produced exciting racing. Tonight should be no different. 36 laps separate the drivers from the top step of the podium, and rain can always wreak havoc around here as well, so the drivers will need to be on their toes and have their wits and skills about them tonight. Last week in Mexico, the H-Eagle made his return after 2 weeks out by winning from 17th on the grid, and that means the battle between him and Casper for second place in the championship looks like it might go down to the wire. The Dutchman holds a 4-point lead at the moment. Who will take the advantage into Abu Dhabi next week? My name is Andy, and I'm glad to say that back joining me tonight after his 1 week excursion into the big leagues is Ollie. Ollie, how are you doing this evening? Good to have you back along with us.
I'm good. Oh, quickly. I was going to quickly mention the Renault there. I'm not sure if you saw that, but there was a weird glitch. Yeah. So that was so Kiski did spin. Yeah, Kiski spun and is now out on the track normally. That was weird. I thought there was a glitch there where he jumped in. Great drama. Glad to be back. Took a little sabbatical up to the top tier. Kept an eye on things while I was away. A great drive from the H-Eagle. He's doing what he does best. Shame really he has been unable to do that consistently throughout the season. I quickly wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone for getting hashtag points capacity trending worldwide. Not a big thank you to Sean for undressing. It kind of backfired on the points capacity movement, but yeah, this track is a classic. 15 corners of great action. It's about a 1 minute 15 lap or less. In race condition, about 1 minute 20. So it's going to be non-stop. So your tonsils might get a break this evening.
Oh, I hope so, because last week in Mexico with the DRS, it was just action everywhere you looked. I didn't know which part of the field I was looking at any given point. So I'm glad for a little bit of a break here tonight, having you back. Casper advising it's clear weather for the race, so we're going to have a dry race, along with hashtag better than Red Bull. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see him and Tactician have been having a little bit of shade thrown at each other just before tonight's race, having a bit of fun. They're not looking forward to this, so they're not enjoying, not got the best setups, but we'll come to that later on. We are on board right now with Lee Findlay, who's scored points in the last 4 races, heading into turn 1 for his first lap into the Senna S, down to second gear, clips third and fourth real quickly, and then through the Curva del Sol, heading down the back straight. DRS wide open down here as we head towards turn number 4, the Desedo del Lago. I'll get the Portuguese pronunciations of these right at some point. Easily through there, up through turn 5, easy acceleration zone, and then into Ferradura, turn 6 right there, very quick. Turn 7 right there is another corner, his name I can't pronounce right now, real quickly, and then into turn 8, slowest point on the track, into turn number 10, the Pinarino, the little pine tree corner, through turn 10 and into the Bico de Pato, the duckbill corner. Turn number 11 on the track. You've got to get a good exit out of here as you head downhill through the downhill Mergulo and then up to Juncal for turn 13, and now this uphill 10% gradient uphill as well is one of the longest stretches of full throttle on the calendar, and Lee Finlay heading towards the line, up the gears into 8th. He goes over the line and it is a 1 minute 7.0, but Blizzard's at the top of the standings at the moment on a 1 minute 6.9 in the Renault. All the laps at the moment on the super soft tyres, Ollie.
Yeah, just 2 guys went out on track on the soft compound tyres, which was Cherry 2 by Kiski, both of which have come into the pits. Cherry 2 Pie has put on a set of the super softs, and he's gone back to the softs there. So him and Kieski are chopping and changing to see which tyres that they want to go for. A simple one-stop strategy around here, 36 laps. The tyres will be nice and safe. They shouldn't pick up any punctures. If they do, they're going to be very, very angry, them tyres, and it's going to be a very aggressive driver to get the most out of them tyres to make them puncture. Nico is coming across the line now, just going into these lovely revs, high speeds around this Interlagos track. He moves himself onto P4. Yeah, this is a strange track really, because it is such a hard one to get a setup for. You can plan a setup around about straight line speed, but it probably won't benefit you too much because of how the high-speed corners affect you so much. You kind of want that perfect mix of cornering and straight lines. Very similar to Mexico of last week. Because of the corners, it's where you can gain significant time, around about 5 tenths really, if you maximise and make it perfect compared to straight line speed. You want to get them corners right, which we might see a few drivers, but in the same sense, in race strategy, if you have a straight line setup, which we've seen the likes of Casper do quite frequently, difficult to overtake, so you've got to find that perfect blend.
Definitely so, and it is a tricky track to get right, as you say. It's one that when I've driven, going back a few years now, obviously for league racing, I did enjoy it. It's a track I do like. It does bring some fantastic racing, but it is a tricky one to get the set up right. Sean's just put himself up into 4th place, the season 16 champion, already confirmed a couple of races ago, so he's just racing for a bit of fun now. Won on the road last week in Mexico, but lost out down to 3rd place due to penalties, and that's not the first time that's happened to the Dutchman this season. It happened in the American Grand Prix as well, where he lost out on the win to Casper due to penalties. So it's something we've seen from Sean a few times. Good racing strategy, good speed, but just picks up penalties, and one of the bits that's going to pick up penalties tonight is the pit lane exit, as we see Jim Pasty coming in there. No problems for him on this time, but that is a very quick pit lane entrance, and it is very easy to just catch the pit lane speed limiter line at the wrong point and get yourself a penalty. So the drivers will need to be very, very careful tonight when entering the pit lane. It's a tricky exit as well that leads you out beyond turn 3, so it's a very, very long exit there, and it means a lot of time within the pit lane area, so the drivers will need to be very careful for that. Johan's put himself into 2nd place in this Force India behind Blizzard, so that puts Lee down to 3rd. Sean's in 4th, and Jim Pasty up into 5th place at the moment. Your favourite driver, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we hashtag a podium for Pasty over this afternoon. It'd be a dream coming true. Cherry 2 Pie moves up into 9th place. He's the only guy who is on the soft compound tyres set at the moment. He's the only one to set time on them softs. So just 5 tenths off the fastest time, which isn't too bad, but the soft race tyre wise probably aren't ideal compared to what everyone more than likely wanting to have. I have seen in the past though, if you do start around about 11th on them fresh tyres going the alternate strategy, if the pack bunches up, which we are expecting them to do, remember, get that water ready, Andy. Your tonsils are going to be taking one hell of a bashing. It's going to be a tough one. I think if you're starting 11th, you've got a very good chance of getting a podium this afternoon.
Definitely so, and it could be that the 11th place is the ideal place to be. I mean, we seen last week the H Eagle, who's still in pit lane at the moment. He started 17th out of 18 runners last week and came through to finish 2nd on the road but pick up the victory due to the penalties from Sean. So it can be done, although this is a much shorter lap in terms of distance. But Mexico was still quite around 1 minute 12s, 1:15s as well, so the DRS was much more predominant at Mexico down the front straight, and that really helped to keep the pack really close together. I do expect to see quite a bit of that here tonight again though, but maybe not quite as much, because you really need to get good traction out of that Juncal corner coming up the hill. You get it wrong there, you're going to be a bit of a sitting duck heading up towards turn number 1 at the Senna S. But still Blizzard on top at the moment with that 1 minute 6.9 from Johan in 2nd, so there's no change in the top 5. Ash has put himself into 6th place, and Lee Finley's just popped himself into provisional pole now. Well, 1 minute 6, so 2 times clear of Blizzard on his latest lap time. That is his 2nd set of super soft tyres as well. He'd already set a lap time, so that's him burned through 2 of those already here tonight. Nico's in 7th, Tactician's on his out lap from another set of super softs. He's in 8th place, Cherry 2 Pie 9th, only one that set a time on the soft tyres, and Joglar rounds out the top 10, 7 tenths of a second, covered the full top 10 at the moment as well. Very, very close indeed.
Yeah, nice and tight, and that's what you want to see. These guys are very quick drivers. They're only just I mean, some of them, in fact, are probably F1 standard at times. Sean, for example, Casper the H-Eagle, to name a few. It's very good as well. It's nice to see that all three of them are racing, because when all three of them are out on track and they're racing, it's a good sign that it's going to be some great racing ahead of us. Quick side note, of course, Vettel no longer with VP, so it won't be VP Vettel Racer anymore. It's going to be Vettel Racer, which is a big shame. It's a gutting, really. VP Vettel Racer. I mean, we're probably going to slip up and call it out a few times. It's going to be a slip of the tongue. We get this all the time when the drivers change esports teams left, right, and centre. It's absolute chaos.
It is indeed. It's going to be the equivalent of what David Croft and that done in practice 1, where they were still calling the Alfa Romeo a Sauber. It's going to be the equivalent of doing that, basically.
Yeah, Racing Point and Force India.
I'm surprised I've never done that one yet either, but there you go. Wait until next season, we'll be tripping over our tongues as we do. Toro Rosso trying to stay out of the way. Red Bull coming through flying there. We did see Ruben cross the line. He's put himself up into 4th place. Nico's got himself up into 3rd as well with his latest lap time, as the Mercedes nearly coming back onto track in front of Nico there. That was very, very cheeky, I would say, from Ruben. He needs to be very careful of that one, trying to stay out of the way, and he actually got in the way of the Williams. So not too good there from the Spaniard.
Yeah, I was looking at Ruben there, and I just watched him cut across the track, and I'm thinking, okay, obviously he's just trying to move up the way completely. But I think Nico backed off of his lap to come into the pits, which he has done now. He backed off the lap halfway through, which is why Ruben wasn't expecting him to be that close, and it's quite lucky, really. Any more high speeds there, and Nico probably could have ended up with a collision to his S2V compadre down there. Yeah, I've got to quickly mention, Johan, since joining F2, has been quite exceptional. He's very consistent. He's done a great job. Every week in, week out, you always seem to find him within the top 5, 6 sort of regions. So maybe next season, if he's still racing and he's in F2, he could be a potential candidate for championship material. I don't want to look too far ahead, because you don't know who's going to be in what tier, but I look at Lee Findlay, Blizzard, Ruben, Nico, where they are at the moment, even Johan, even the mighty Pasty. You know, there's a few figures in there, plus F3 promotions we'll see next season as well. It should be interesting.
When Johan has proven to have some when he's been in the tier, and he's currently 5th place at the moment, just 3 picks down. A good, he is running back. One of those such a dropped the F1 community as a whole, and the man, to what happened to him passing away at 66, and he's left a huge hole in the sport with what he did. Director, technical director, race starter, he was judge, jury, executioner, friend, foe, he was everything. And there's been some phenomenal tributes this week, and obviously our condolences, and everything goes to his friends and family, of course, and some of the drivers have been very touchingly paying their own tributes out on track here this week as well.
Yeah, he was an iconic man, he really was, and I think we was all taken aback by what happened. I don't think anybody expected that to happen. I mean, this might sound morbid, but I would have more expected to wake up to the news that Bernie Eccleston maybe had passed away compared, but Charlie Whiting, I'll be honest with you, looked incredibly good for 66. And I think that just shows his life in the here and now. I'm not sure I think there might have been a couple of blips of Andy's mic there, so I apologise if there was any interference there. I don't think it was too severe, but obviously we know what Andy's mic's like. He's only got a couple more races to deal with it, and then he'll probably undoubtedly go out and spend £1,000 on a Blue Yeti Supreme Hyper Beast, I don't know what they're called, but just goes out, but outshines everyone. This with his own studio booth and HD PVR, the old school, and just completely outshines us all.
Not the first for something a bit similar. One goes up, but well, over the last weeks it's just been extremely tight, so I just don't have a chance So hopefully when I get to the end of this month, I'm going to be able to take care of before I come across the line moment. Or off the point. So maybe top 10 soft. They're playing the strategy for a longer game here.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Andy, I think your mic jumped in and out a little bit there. So I heard Johan and obviously strategy. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully you can maybe unplug your mic and plug it back in. It just jumped out there, but I think during the bulk of your conversation. So hopefully we can try and fix that quickly. We'll quickly have a look though at the guys who are still within the pitch. You've got Lee Finley, Blizzard, and Nico's out on track. I'd imagine he's going to dart into the pits and get onto a fresh set of super softs, which he has done so. Jim Pasty, the mighty one, is out on an outlap. Just ahead of him is a Red Bull near him is Tactician. Just ahead of him is Casper on the soft compound tyres. Probably just getting a feel for the track and going to dart into the pits. Looking at Pasty then, who's just crossing the line as he heads up the hill into turn 1, a blindsided corner. It's a lovely corner to drive. It's also going to be fantastic for overtaking because of the switchback nature. We've seen Max Verstappen, for example, create one of the most unbelievable overtakes you're ever going to see around that long swooping left-hander around the outside of Nico Rosberg. As you hunt down into turn 4, it looks like a decent lap so far from Pasty, who is just now lifted off. So that's completely contradicted what I said. I think Andy's mic has gone again. I think your mic has gone again. I'm going to try and check on the screen quickly. Yeah, it has. We'll see if we can get that sorted for you. Apologies. Come to expect these sort of things. So we'll quickly run you through the classifications. We're just now just 2 minutes to go. It's Lee Findlay at the top from Blizzard in second. It's Nico third. Fourth is Ruben. Fifth is the champion in Sean. Johan is in 6th. Pasty, the mighty one, in 7th. Cherry Tupai in 8th. 9th is Ash. 10th is Joglar. 11th is Kiski, the winner of the Singapore Grand Prix. Tactician, Mr. Consistent on the pad, is running in 12th. H Eagle, apparently according to Casper, wants to start outside the top 10. So, keep an eye on him. Casper in 14th is the Matt.
From a comment, he's just spun it, coming out of the Côte de Pato corner, and he's going very towards pit lane at the moment. Line up, but he was facing the direction there for a second.
It's so far looking quite good if you're a fan of Lee Findlay, who sits on pole with a slight gap at the moment to Blizzard, who's just behind. It is very tight between the top 3 of Ruben. Got some time to gain. It's almost looking like this Australian Grand Prix qualifying session when you looked at Hamilton and Bottas and thinking, how on earth is he going to gain that time? But Ruben is ramping up for a lap. Everyone is just cruising around. Blizzard has started his lap. Lee Findlay's come around the final few corners now. Blizzard looking a little bit shaky. Is now going to have the slipstream available to him to the car ahead, which is Kiski. So potential teamwork here between the two of them. Kiski is pulled over and Blizzard has got a nice little toe going into turn 4. He now heads up the hill, this long 180-degree right-hander that's uphill. It's a beautiful corner. We've seen Lewis Hamilton spin through here in the past. If you get an overtake through here, it's going to be driver of the day worthy. Lovely line there from Blizzard. Now shifts it to the right-hander, heading down into this hairpin bowl-style corner. Downhill, then shortly followed with an uphill incline as you head right-hander now. Don't want to get any lockups. Nicely does it. You want to ease into the apex. Don't want to hit it too early. You want to maximise the exit. Full power, and as quickly as that, the laps are pretty much over. No more braking zones apart from this one. Is that Glock? No, it's Blizzard. He's now going to ramp up, and he's lost the rear end slightly there. He's just held it. Could be an improvement. We'll keep a close eye on him. Nico has retired from the session. Dan Daniels got himself up into P4. Pasty is in 8th. Across the line comes Blizzard in the Renault. Can he improve? No, he does not. He stays in P2.
Stays in P2 indeed. For the meantime, Lee Finlay comes. Jean Cal heading up the hill, the current provisional pole sitter. At the moment, can he make an improvement to ward off any threat? Doesn't he dive straight into pit lane, so it's not going to be an improvement for him. Ruben, an improvement. Sean across the line, and it's not an improvement either. Cherry coming up the hill just now as well. and we'll see what he's doing. The Toro Rosso, the checkered flag is a out. Cherry 2 pretty much apart from his teammate Casper. Cherry 2 Pie goes up to 6 and Casper goes into pole position. Ditch lap at 1 minute 6.97. 4 just clear of Lee Finlay, so the Dutchman shoves it onto pole position at the last gasp, and he had just said in the chat that he was going to try and do the same as the H-Eagle and start outside the top 10. Well, he's proven us to be completely fooled right there, Ollie.
Yeah, Casper's a strange one, because one week his qualifying's poor and the next week it's in tip-top performance. He's always been a better racer than qualifier, but this afternoon he starts on pole position. It's heartbreak for Lee Findlay, who will start in second with Blizzard in third. Nico is in fourth, rounding out that second row, with fifth going to Johan. Dan Daniel, an impressive sixth, with Cherry 2 Pie, the teammate of the pole sitter, in seventh. Ruben starts in eighth, with Sean, the champion, down in ninth. Alongside him is the greatest driver in F2 history, Jim Pasty, shortly followed by Kieski in 11th. 12th is Ash Best, who had a great start to the season but finds himself wallowing down in the lower stages ever since the Australian Grand Prix, with the H-Eagle battling with Casper in 14th. Tactician in 15th, with Vettel Racer starting in P16 out of 16 drivers.
It should be a very interesting race ahead of us now. Obviously the top 10 all starting on the super soft tyres, so we'll need to wait and see what the other drivers outside of the top 10 start on. Obviously there's no point in us we can do our predictions, but it's not going to make a difference now because you've well and truly won it, so I'm not even going to bother with that one. But who do you fancy for the race, so Ollie? You got to, we'll still have a pick and see if we can curse somebody or not.
Yeah, I've ordered my crown. I've ordered my championship belt. It's a WWE one. I'm just going to sand out. I'm going to sand out the WWE and just put the letters F and 2. It's just going to be great. I'm going to walk around. If I go to an F1 race, it's on my shoulder. Foreign people just saying, "What is that? What is that?" And I will say, "King of predictions." It will have just a picture of Jim Pasty, his greatest achievements, finishing 8th. Sean in a dressing gown on one side. It's going to be brilliant quality.
That sounds like a great ring valley.
Oh yeah, it's going on eBay for a couple of grand. For me, one to watch. You've got your H-Eagles, you've got your Tacticians, you've got so on and so forth. And obviously, it's not a case of gaining places, so I won't risk it and go for something stupid. I'm going to say keep a close eye on Cherry 2 Pie. Now, he's starting 7th. His teammate's in 1st. And I've seen a few drivers, you can obviously see what tyres everyone's starting on, but I think just Cherry 2 Pie needs to have some luck. He's not really made his own luck in the way, but he's not really had any fortune this season. He's had 3 pole positions, and in every single one he's been unable to convert them. In Canada, of course, he finished in 9th. In Singapore, he done so well, but then lost out to Kieski. And then a few weeks ago, again, made that silly mistake and lost out. But I reckon today he could get a podium if he really puts his mind to it and focuses. I reckon he could do a solid job today.
He's shown some solid pace in the last few races, so it's definitely a good shout. I'm going to shy away from the H-Eagle because with that second place battle going on, I don't want to curse it. So I'm going to leave that one well alone, and I'm going to say Kieski, first driver starting on the medium tyre, down in 11th place. He's obviously he's already the Finn at Singapore, as you mentioned earlier, and after he could have a pretty good race here, he's going to be running much longer into the stint than anybody else. The obvious choice would be the Eagle, but I'm not putting a curse on that back because it's so close between him and Casper, and I want to see cursing anybody, so I'll put the curse on Kieski and hope that it actually breaks it tonight, and he does very, very well. Ears open. We'll see what happens. But they're coming up start and finish line at the end of the formation lap, and it is Casper on pole position, exactly where he needs to be for the battle with the H-Eagle over second place. It is round 20 of season 16. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix from Interlagos, and we are awaiting the red lights coming on for the start of 36 laps here this evening. Round 20 is underway, and who's got a good start going up the hill? And it looks like Blizzard might have got a decent run there. Lee Finlay battling into turn 1 with Casper as he goes side by side through the Senna S. Casper holds on to that. The inside there into the cover to Sill. Blizzard's making a move. 2 Pie out him, and that was, I think, well, it went flying off also. Yeah, it was the Mercedes, so huge incident. Cherry Pie out of the race already as they head up towards Ferrari for a time. It is Casper, Blizzard, Lee Finley, basically nose to tail going through there at the moment. Nico's in 4th, Johan 5th. Then it is Daniel, Sean, Jogler, Kiski, Ashen 10th. Eagle up to 11th so far from his start positions. He's already gained 3 places. Jim Pasty down 2 places out of the top 10 with Vettel in 13th, Tactician 14th, and Ruben likely to have damage down in 15th place. Absolutely start more damage there. That's one boards getting flying about there as they head up the hill out of Juncal. Casper leads Blizzard, chasing them down, having got the jump. Lee nearly got the lead, but ends up losing a place to the Renault as they complete lap 1.
Yeah, let me inform you of what happened there. As Blizzard has gone very deep and almost run into the rear end of Casper, all single file. The Elephants go by 2 by 2. Hurrah! Round here in Brazil. So what happened with Cherry 2? Gone round the long left-hander and just gone into the rear wheel of Ruben and just almost T-boned Ruben. Ruben's gone crashing into the side of Sean, who I'm surprised hasn't actually picked up any damage. Sean got away with that quite lucky, but then as he's T-boned Ruben's completely gone 90 degrees, facing into the wallway. Cherry 2 Pie's wheel has gone completely off, and there's no way that's going to be reattached with ease. And Ruben has done a 180 spin and got going again. So Cherry 2 Pie, they're causing the incident. It seemed from us, unless there was desynced involved, it looked like it was pretty plain and simple, just sloppy racing from Cherry 2 Pie. I said he was due a good performance, and well, he's only gone and put in the best performance of his life in retiring after 4 corners, so huge congratulations to him. His teammate, on the other hand, is leading the way at the moment, pulling out a decent gap to Blizzard. He's keeping it tight and consistent, but this is what Casper will be wanting. The H Eagle down 11th, not in the points. Casper gaining 25. If things remain the way they are, he wraps up P2 in the championship with rounds to spare.
Indeed it would do, as well as we did see Sean obviously avoided damage. He got a good move up the inside on Daniel down into turn number 4 last lap round. Kiski has just made his way past Ash as well and looking onto the back of Joglar now down into turn 4, but unable to do anything at the moment. Blizzard though trying to keep up with Casper, but he knows he's got a very fast Lee Finley in behind him, and Lee's been very consistent in his last 4 races despite qualifying down the field. He's finished in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, not particularly in that order of course, so he has got some good runs going here. I'm noticing that it is a bit jumpy through the stream, so I do apologise for that. It is not doing too great. And there it is, the tyres as being asked for by Z3 in the chat. Hello Z3, nice to you come and join us, my friend. Nice to see you here this evening, my Norwegian buddy. But coming up to the end of lap number 3, obviously DRS is now enabled as they come down the straight. Blizzard now got a chance to gain up and get a good run through the Senna S and then try and DRS down towards turn 4 at the Decido del Lago and see if he can make a move. But again, he's just got a little bit deep into turn 1 there. It's cost him a little bit of time, and he's going to have to try and make that back up one more time. Casper still leads. Sean is not far off the back of this, so he is right on to the back of Johan as they come down. The Force India goes defensive to the inside. Sean's going to try and cut back. The Force India's completely outbraked itself off the track, well wide, halfway towards Argentina, and that's an easy move for Sean. Now up in 5th place as Ash has done the exact same. Oh goodness me, we're nearly 3 wide into Ferragura. This could go mental, but thankfully everyone backs out. Ash has got back through on Kiski, and Kiski's now got the H Eagle sneaking up the inside into turn number 8, and that is Kiski lost 2 places in the space of about a corner and a half, so that's not very good for the Renault. But it's all changed as there goes Jim Pasty now up the inside of Kiski, trying to take away 11th place from the Renault driver, but the Williams unable to do so at the moment. Casper still leads from Blizzard, Lee Finley, Nico and Sean now up in the 5th place. Yeah, so Johan there showing a little bit of an experienced champion as things stand, going a little bit too deep, getting a bit too eager on them tyres, and that's what Sean needs to do, just put them under pressure. I think Sean has matured a hell of a lot this season, I must say. He has shown a lot of positive signs
in his driving ability. Obviously, the incidents earlier on the season. Ash has got past Joglar. Joglar was actually really caught in no man's land, 4 seconds behind Daniel. So he may have picked up damage from the Cherry 2-pipe crash and incident. Jim Pasty's got past Kieski up into P11. Hashtag points for Pasty. Up the inside goes Kieski. Later on the brakes, and he's pushed Pasty off the track there. Pasty's rejoined and got straight into the battle. Vettel has now got up into 11th, but that was a lunge and a half there from Kieski, and that was unnecessary. I'm not sure if you caught that, Andy, but it was a late, desperate lunge.
We did.
Just from a good, I'd say 100 metres back, where he's just gone for it, and I don't know what he's thinking, but it just seems a little bit naive there. And I don't thought I'd say this, but Pasty really did quite well to not just get the place and hold on to it, but to come away with it without a damaged car.
Definitely so, although the big gainer out of that, of course, was Vettel, who was very opportunistic to sneak up the inside of the two of them as they went wide through turn 4 and took that place away from both of them. So he's picked up the main part through that bit. But yeah, it did look like a late move from Kieski. He's now got Tactician going to look. Oh goodness, that's jumping about on my screen as Tactician goes up the inside through the Senna S, but Kieski's now got the inside line and through the curve of Dersol. Meanwhile, back up towards the front, we've got a freeway scrap as Nico's got past Lee Finlay. Sean's going to try and go the long way around Ferragura. He's been pushed onto the grass there by the Williams, and that's going to drop him back down the order a little bit. Free wide into Ferragura is never on at any point, and Sean's lucky again to not end up with damage, not through any fault of his own, just obviously free wide into there's not going to happen. But Nico's got the move done on Lee Findlay. It'll have been DRS down to turn 4, I'd imagine. Sean tried to pick up the pieces and do what Vettel did to Jim Pasty and Kieski, but unable to do so, and now has to regroup and try and gain back onto the back of these guys. We're already on to lap 6 of 36. This is absolutely flying by at the moment, but Casper still leads from Blizzard in second, with Nico now in third, and Lee Finlay trying to regain that place on the podium from Master and the one that went round Melbourne today. And the H-Eagle's out the race. H-Eagle is out of this race. I don't know where he is. I've lost it. Everyone's gone past, and that is an absolute stunner there, that the German, the Mexican Grand Prix 4-time winner this season, is out, and that could mean possibly Casper, if he wins, he will wrap up P2 in the championship.
Yeah, it's a big shame. See if I can go on board with anyone. I think he's lost control going up the hill into turn 1, but that cannot be confirmed. I think based on where Tactician and Kieski were placed, I think that's where he went off. The incident with Sean there as he headed up the 180 degree uphill right-hander. A great manoeuvre from Sean originally to get past Lee Findlay, and then just showed a little bit of immaturity. So I praised him earlier for how mature he was, and then he showed a little bit of immaturity, just pushing it a little bit too much and then running on to the runoff area. For Casper, he is now a win away from the championship, but he's got Blizzard all over his rear end, and he is pushing him through turn 1. I think Casper is going to get his elbows out and defend. I had good evening to the parents of Casper. They'll be hoping their child can pick up the second place in the championship. The silver medal is still a medal to be proud of, but he is creating one hell of a Dutch train. This train goes from Amsterdam to Rotterdam. It is one hell of a train, I can tell you that for nothing. And it all starts with the Flying Dutchman, who's in first, but he has got Blizzard all over his rear end, and you know that Nico, Lee Findlay, and of course the current champion Sean will be taking full advantage. They've got a safe gap as well for Dan Daniel, 3.3 seconds between Sean and Dan Daniel. So this top 5 have got a comfortable gap as well to create some drama this afternoon. I think Blizzard is going to try and line it up though as they come through what I would like to dub the Glock corner. Is that Glock? Yes, it is. But this time around it's Blizzard and Casper who are battling it up the hill now. You're going to see a hell of a lot of slipstream and straight line dominance from Blizzard as he opens that DRS up. Casper's going to have to defend for his life. He's going to get sucked in like a Henry Hoover, but no, in fact, Blizzard's more like a Dyson at this stage. He is sucking. He's got the ultimate sucking power. The vacuum is getting smaller and smaller, and the cleaning of this car is going beautifully. Casper's got to defend like mad here. It's going to be a great manoeuvre from Blizzard. He's got so much more straight line speed behind him though with Nico as well. Blizzard gets it done to the dismay of the Dutch fans supporting Casper this evening. and Sean gets past him for a bit dramatic fashion, but the elbows are now well and truly out.
Definitely were out there. I thought they were going to get caught up and maybe spin off the track, those two, but Blizzard up into the lead of the race, Sean up into 4th place. And with you mentioning Amsterdam and Rotterdam, I now have a beautiful South song in my head, and I'm not going to sing it, so be thankful for that one. But Blizzard now in the lead of the race. Casper looks like he's struggling on those tyres, because he's already down to 7 tenths behind Blizzard just through sector 2. I just wonder if the Toro Rosso is starting to struggle on those super softs. He did say he was struggling for full pace round here, not enjoying the track too much and struggling for setup, so maybe those super softs are starting to just disappear from the Toro Rosso. He's now got Nico in the Williams lining up for a move behind, but they're under braking. Casper closes right up to Blizzard, and a big tank slapper there from the Toro Rosso coming through the curve of the Sol, and that's going to give Nico a perfect opportunity to try and pass down into turn 4, but he's not close enough on this occasion, and it is still, as you were, Sean is not too far off the back of this one either. Lee Finley's trying to get back past the Ferrari. Daniels in 6, having got by Johan. He's now pulled a second clear as well. Ash is now within a second of Johan, with Jogler in 9th. Jim Pasty is in the final points, so the hashtag points for Pasty movement is looking good at the moment. With Vettel Racer 11th, Kiski 12th, Tactician 13th, and the H-Eagle, Ruben and Cherry 2Pi are your 3 DNFs so far in this race.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing because you just feel like Cherry 2Pi and Ruben would have made this 7 cars all battling for this potential race victory. So Andy, I've got to quickly ask you a question when it comes to this this group or this gaggle of cars as things currently stand. They're all separated by, what, 1.8 seconds, the top 5? As down Casper, he's going to go for a late lunge into turn 1. No, he's not. You've got Lee Finley, you've got Sean, you've got Nico, Casper, Blizzard. Who's your money on out of that 5 to come out in this race, if it is this 5 who are battling for the race victory come 36 laps?
That's a tricky one because they're all good in their own right. We've spoke many times this season about just how quick we know Blizzard can be. We've seen what Casper and Sean can do. We know Lee's very consistent. Nico's been very quick as well. Any one of the 5 of them could take this victory at any point. It is all up for grabs. It is anyone's game right now, as long as it's kept clean and tidy. That's all we're looking forward for, to keep it that way. I will apologise if you're watching the stream, it is a little bit jumpy and laggy, but at least at the moment you can still hear me. The long may that, at least that continue for now. But yeah, joys of the internet. I need to speak with my supplier again, but there you go, it's the joys of moving house again. But Blizzard's still in the lead of this race, and he also had a good race in Russia in that wet to dry race, kept up with Sean very well. Can he finally put himself into the top step of the podium here in AOR? Nico, the first one to blink and come into pit lane, so the Williams is now into the pits to get rid of those super soft tyres. So he's the first one to make a move, and he's going to try and hopefully for him come out into some clean air and try and then close down the gap to these guys as quickly as possible. There's now a few more drivers in the pits. In fact, it is just Johan is the only other driver into the pit lane. Nico puts on the medium tyres, so that should take him quite comfortably to the end of the race. So Blizzard leads from Casper. Sean's now up to 3rd with Nico pitting. Lee Finley in 4th. These 4 are 3 seconds clear off Daniel, as we see Vettel Racer going round the outside of Jim Pasty, but the Williams is having absolutely none of that one. The Salba has to give back the place. Kiski trying to go through up into Ferradura, but has to back out of that one as well. Jim Pasty, those tyres will be a bit second hand. Vettel looks to the inside late into turn 8, has to back out of that at the last second, and Jim Pasty holds on for the meantime to 8th position, but those super soft tyres will be absolutely screaming in agony. They'll be at the end of their cycle. Any of the leaders heading for pit lane? Blizzard is, Casper is, Sean is as well. Lee Finley's going to carry on for another lap, so the McLaren goes into the lead of the race.
Oh, quickly, Andy! Casper's just running to the rear end of Blizzard and lost his front wing. Casper's just running to the rear end of Blizzard, lost part of his front wing, carbon fibre all over the place. And is he going to get... Yes, he's changing it, so luckily they're going to get it changed. But that's going to cost Casper dearly.
Definitely so, and Johans has dropped out of the race as well. I thought that's what you were looking at. I didn't realise it was a pit lane incident. So there you go, Casper running into the back of Blizzard. They're in pit lane at the limiter line, but Luckily for him, they have been able to change the front wing, but it has allowed Sean to jump ahead of the Toro Rosso in the pit stop phase as Blizzard comes back out. And Nico's back out in front of Sean as well, so he's right onto the back of Blizzard now, and he has got a lap on those tyres, so they'll already be up to temperature. But Casper, luckily that happened in pit lane and it was picked up by the team, and he was able to get that wing changed. Johan's dropped out of the race as well, unsure what happened with the Force India. I did see him in pit lane, so I think he's just retired from the pits. But that is now 4 retirements in this race so far. But at the moment, Blizzard in 8th, Lee Finley now into pit lane, so that's going to put Daniel into first place unless he comes into the pits. And he does not come into the pits, and Ash has just overtaken him under DRS into turn number 1. So Ash is now in the lead of this race from Daniel. Joglar on the medium tyres in 3rd place, with Vettel now up to 4th, Kiski 5th, Tactician in 6th, and it looks like Nico's got through there, just caught the end of that overtake on Blizzard into turn 1, and the Williams will now be into the virtual lead of the race once all the pit stops have panned out.
Yeah, but Blizzard is not giving up lightly here. Nico is on much warmer tyres compared to him, and Blizzard is still showing great pace with Sean lurking in the background there. Not ideal. Could have got 25 points and wrapped up 2nd place. He could, well and truly, in theory, wrap it up as well if he can pick up a decent point haul with the H-Eagle dropping out. Somebody to keep a close eye on is Joglar and Ash Best, who are the highest runners on the alternate strategy. Ash is on the soft compound tyres. If he can make them last long enough to go onto a set of super softs, and he deserves a medal. So eyes will go on Joglar for the alternate strategy in that regard. Tactician, Vettel and Kiski all having a lovely little battle as well, the medium runners of them guys. They're actually being slowly reeled in by Nico, Blizzard and Sean, the trailing pack with Lee Finley just a little bit behind after he went a little bit too long. Nico has done a very poor line hanging up the hill, heading into turn 16. It's a poor line, and Blizzard's got it done before the braking zone, so Nico losing a little twitchy moment there, didn't take the ideal line, and has allowed Blizzard back up into a net lead of this Grand Prix. But you know these two are going to probably chop and change places quite a significant amount of times. But here's the champion, Sean, in the Ferrari. The scarlet red Ferrari is hunting down Nico in the Williams, and Blizzard in the yellow Renault car is tight between the front 3, all of them separated by 5/10 of a second. We've got ourselves one hell of a battle for a podium with some outsiders, the likes of Ash and Joglar, in contention as well. So things are definitely not over.
Definitely not over. There's a long way to go. We're not even at halfway distance yet in this race. Still got another few laps before that one happens, and Kiski's just got himself through on Vettel Racer, but Vettel gets back through. That's at the Bico de Pato as they head down the hill through Megulo towards Juncal, and you can see Blizzard, Nico and Sean just in the background in that shot there. There they go through the shot just behind them, so they're reeling these guys in. Daniel, oh, huge crash from the front straight. Joglar and Daniel have crashed on the front straight, huge mess. Cars everywhere, and now Nico and Blizzard are all over the place as well. Blizzard's left the session, so he's had a disconnection issue. Carnage on the front straight there, and everything going on. Sean's now ahead of Blizzard, who's now got a ghosting car. Hopefully he can get back into that. What absolute drama. Not sure what happened with Joglar and Daniel. I was trying to jump to it, and then just as it happened, they were in the middle of the road with carbon fibre and wheels everywhere, and at the same time Blizzard has dropped out of the session, so he's no longer in control, having been in the virtual lead of the race. Drama here at Interlagos, and it now means that everybody that finishes will score points as well, because there's only 10 runners left.
I think the real question is, how on earth is that not a safety car? Because there is cut-off fibre from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro. It is absolute chaos out there, and I'm surprised it's not either, but that's definitely safety car worthy, and that would really throw a spanner in the works. The likes of Ash and Co could all come into the pits, and then the question would be to Nico and Sean, would you come in for a set of the soft compound tyres? But no, we're not going to get it, sadly. What we do now have is pretty much a straight fight between Nico and Sean for this race victory, which is a little bit disappointing. Nico looks a little bit shaky down the final few corners. Ash is coming to the pitch for a set of the white-walled medium compound tyres. Of course, that will change on the next game. It will just be soft, medium, hard, and they'll just change colour. And it's going to be going to be chaos for us to figure that one out. What net tyre they're going to be as well, obviously. If I'm honest with you, I'm not sure about you, Andy, I actually prefer having the multiple colours of tyres, because then you know what sort of style. But if I'm completely honest with you, every single race I should just show up with the Hypersofts just to have some fun.
That would be fun. Can you imagine that? How many pit stops there would be with that one? But yeah, it'll make it a wee bit easier this season, but there's still going to be at least 5 compounds between it, so you know the nerdy side of us can still get involved and get chucked in. Blizzard has got back into the session. He's not back in control of the car yet, so he is back into the lobby, so he'll be getting that loaded up, and hopefully he'll be back in control of that Renault very shortly. Ash is just about to pass him, but that's an absolute sin for the Renault driver, because he was in the virtual lead off the race there for a moment, and then when dropping out of the session has allowed everybody through. A yellow flag in sector 3, and there's something going on up ahead possibly. Let's see if we can pick it up. It's disappeared.
So rejoining, it's just Blizzard rejoining his car. They have the yellow flags when they rejoin.
Fair enough, no problem at all. And if you have a look as well, the 10 runners that are still in the field covered by 20 seconds in total. Jim Pasty has dropped off the back, but he is in a points position, so that's going to be decent for him. You can see Nico lining up a move on Tactician, who's on 17 lap old mediums. That's a very easy move there for the Williams driver, now up into 3rd place. His next challenge is Vettel Racer and Kiski up ahead, and you can see these guys that have pitted already early, now onto fresh mediums, are catching up to the guys that are running on the long strategy at the start here on the medium tyres very, very quickly with the good rubber underneath them. Nico up to 3rd. Sean's going to be the next one to have a go at Tactician to come into the Bico de Pato, the duckbill corner, but unable to do anything at the moment. He's going to try and get a good run down Megulo and through Juncal up the hill and see if he can slip past that Red Bull up the hill and under DRS, because he's going to get a much better traction out of this final corner up the hill. And let's see what can the champion do. Heading down towards the front straight. Tactician's got DRS to help him as well, but the battery turned up I'm sure also, and he's going for a move up the inside. We jump back on board because the outside camera angle's still terrible. He gives the Red Bull space and then just comes back across, and that's an easy move there from Tactician, from Sean on Tactician. I'm sure Tactician didn't fight it too much, knowing that he's on much older tyres. He's obviously in a completely different race to the Dutchman at the moment.
Yellow flags are Blizzard, who has gone off down into turn 2 and lost his front wing, and it's dropped down into P10. It's actually turn 3 he's actually lost it, so it's kind of between that transition between turns 2 and 3. He'll probably continue going to pick up points. I've got to quickly mention that I was going to say what has actually happened here now is that Sean's got a saving grace, because in the middle sector Nico is going to have to follow behind Vettel and Kiski, which is going to give him a little bit of a chance to game in and just claw him back. And if Kiski and Vettel are staying out on track, Nico is going to probably struggle to get past him, because Vettel is not an easy guy to get past, but he's going to have a superior tyres and DRS available to him, which Vettel will also have for this double toe down this not so straight. Is going to be interesting to see, but Vettel is looking like he's going to be safe here. I don't think Nico's going to be able to go for a lunge. Sean's a little bit too far back. Nico has gone for the lunge. He doesn't care, my opinion. He doesn't care that he's just completely contradicted what I said. Nico is now on the bad books for that reason, and that reason alone. Sean is now going to try and hunt down Vettel. Nico has got a little bit of a clear gap, but here comes Vettel back at him. Is he going to repay the favour? No, he does not. He says, Nico, you can have a clean pass there. I thought it was a fair enough move at that. Sean is now pushing Vettel up the hill as they come through. 180-degree uphill right hand. Yep, he's got it done. I wouldn't say it was the most impressive of his manoeuvres, but bloody hell, that was a good one from Sean. He loves a risky manoeuvre at best, and he has just said, Nico, anything you can do, I can do 10 times better. Next up for them two is Kiski, and it's a straight fight between the two of them for the race lead.
Despite being a little bit easier with the tyres, it was still a good move into Ferradura. We'll say nothing about drivers needing to have balls of steel to do that one, because he'll probably make a TikTok video, so we'll leave that one well alone there and let him deal with that one. That's F1's problem.
Steel balls.
No, definitely not. That's F1's problem next year. You're welcome. But it means Kiski now is under extreme pressure from Nico coming into turn 1. He looks like he's going to dive down again, but thinks better off it. And I'm surprised there's been no safety car, because you can still see coming into turn 1 there's a yellow flag down the front straight because of all the debris from the crash between Joglar and Daniel just strewn across the track. So I'm surprised there's not been a safety car. I've seen it come out for a lot less than that, but hey, there you go, Blizzard's dropped out of the session as well, so we're now down to 9 runners, Tactician being the last of them in pit lane. Jim Pasty now in 8th with Ash in 7th, Casper in 6th, and Lee in 5th, Vital in 4th, Sean 3rd, Nico 2nd, and Kiski in 1st. And you can see the gap from 1st to 7th is 9 seconds, but Kiski and Vettel Racer have still to make their pit stop, so when that breaks out, we're going to have 9 seconds between the top 5. We could be in for an absolute grandstand finish here tonight, Ollie. This could be absolutely thrilling all the way to the flag.
Yeah, and at the same time you've got some outsiders like Casper who's gone a little bit longer. Kiski is being hunted down by Nico and Sean respectively. Kiski's pulled over to the left hand side and come into the pits, leaving Nico at the whims of whatever Sean's feeling like. Is he feeling feisty? Does he want to get a win? Last week he was robbed of it after penalties with the H-Eagle. Does he want to get a win to add to his stats, you know, stat pad like Eden Hazard, or does he want to earn his better stats and feel like this one will, you know, this answers the question. He's had a fantastic exit out of turn 3. He's got the manoeuvre done before the braking zone, and he's up into the lead just behind. Lee Findlay has disposed of VP, see, done it there, but to call him VP Vettel. It's his Vettel Racer. Now he's now disposed of him and got himself up into P3. Nico versus Sean is going to be the battle of this race. But in more important news, we should all arise and salute as Jim Pasty is in P7.
He is in P7 at the moment, but Kiski's just came out behind him after his pit stop on a fresh set of soft tyres, so that could be down to 8th place before long, and Tactician's not too far behind either in 9th. But Sean now into the lead of the race. Now, we did say earlier he's lost the last 2 races, crossed the line in first and lost out due to penalties. My dear friend Z3 in the chat asking for what the penalty situation is. That's your job, Ollie, so I don't disappear from the stream. So if you do have a wee moment to check that out, that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
Vettel Racer has jumped into pit lane, and that is now the final person that needs to make a pit stop, so that puts Casper up to 4th. Ash is now up into 5th place, and that now means everybody has made their mandatory pit stop. I'd expect Vettel to be going on to those yellow marked soft tyres, and he does indeed. But Nico trying to fight back onto the back of Sean one more time as your man Jim Pasty's now in 6th place due to Vettel's pit stop. Let's see how long that carries on for. But Nico, his Williams teammate, is duking it out with the world champion for the win here. And Kiski, just as I say that, has just got past Jim Pasty and made his way up into 6th place. But Nico now come back to the lead battle. They've got 3 seconds over Lee Findlay, so these two have checked out a little bit from the guys behind, and heading up towards June Cal and up the hill. And Sean is going to be a little bit at the mercy of the Williams with the DRS. He's got plenty of battery though to help him, and we'll see if he uses it. And just look at this yellow flag point. There's a huge chunk of wing just there on the right hand side in the middle of the road. I'm surprised it's not been moved, and that's why I'm surprised there's not been a safety car. But Nico unable to do anything on this occasion into turn number 1, and he has to think of it one more time, coming down towards turn number 4, the Decido de Lago, the Lake Descent corner, and he's not close enough on this occasion. Sean June just enough to keep that Williams behind. We're on lap 24 of 36 for Hype Energy's F1 2018 League. It's season 16, round 20, only one more round to go next week at Abu Dhabi, but let's concentrate on this thrilling race we've got here at Interlagos. Ollie, have you got any update for the penalty situation?
Yes, I do. While Nico and Sean battle in the background, let me quickly run you through the penalties. Sean has 2 3-second time penalties. Now, one of them might actually be a 5-second time penalty, which was received on lap 1 for the incident with Cherry 2 and Rubens. So I'd imagine that will get removed because it didn't look like his fault, and he'd obviously picked that up. But he has 1 legitimate penalty, I would say, with 2 warnings as well. So he's 1 warning away from another 3-second time penalty. Nico has got 1 time penalty to his name with Lee Findlay and Casper, both respectively not having a single warning, so that could play a big factor in there. Ash has got a single warning, no penalty as things stand. Quite a few penalties for Kiski. He has got 2 with, I think he's 1 warning away as well from another time penalty as well. As Sean and Nico continue their battle, these are going to be the guys that keep us entertained, with Tactician hunting down the mighty one in P7 as well. Fast slap there from Vettel Racer, who currently sits in P9. It's getting a little bit intense. It's still a long way to go. Lap 25 of 36. Penalties can play a big part. But let's not tell Sean and Nico, because I want to see them battle for quite a while.
Definitely so. Tactician has just got himself past Jim Pasty, down the back straight into turn number 4, so the Williams now down into 8th place, with the Red Bull now up into 7th for the pad runner. Wasn't looking forward to this too much, didn't feel he was too comfortable round here, but with all the incidents that have happened, he is going to get himself some decent points here this evening. At the moment I can see some of our retired drivers have dropped into the chat, very frustrated with things that have happened this evening. Only one more round to go, so not long until season 16 is over and we can start concentrating on season 17 moving forward. It's going to be really interesting, season 17. See, as you said earlier on, Ollie, to see what drivers are in this tier for next season, who goes up, any that might come down from F1, any that come up from F3. It's going to be a really interesting season 13, as Vettel Racer has just sneaked by into turn Williams down to 9th place, so he is now the last runner, but he is still on the lead lap obviously at this point. Nobody is getting lapped in this race, it looks like today, as Nico tries to see if he can do anything to get past Sean, but he's still stuck behind that Ferrari. That is the widest Ferrari you're going to see here, and it is going to be an extremely long battle to the end of this race for Nico if he wants to take his first victory in F2. And I seem to have lost Ollie. Or has he hit the mute button again?
No, hello, I muted my mic and forgot to unmute it. I've had a little quick conversation with myself there. I was just saying, Nico is hunting down Sean at quite a good rate of knots. He just needs to keep it nice and consistent if he wants to pick up the points here, because he has got the penalty advantage over the Dutchman as things stand. But we do know that Sean is not afraid to get the elbows out, so it's going to be a tough afternoon for Nico if he wants to get it done. Vettel and Pasty are very close to Tactician, so a nice little scrap between them guys is starting to form. Vettel is much quicker than Tactician on the fresh rubber of them soft compound tyres, and them two are probably going to start the hunt down Kieski as well, who is trying to bring down that 10-second gap to Asbeth, so he's probably got enough time to his name as well, so to maybe, just maybe get close to Asbeth and create some drama in the latter stages. But all eyes are definitely firmly on Nico versus Sean, which as they come through the middle sector, they're just separated by 0.3 of a second.
Definitely so. We jumped on board with Nico. It was the just over the right front suspension, lovely camera angle, and you could see he was right onto the back of that Ferrari, so close you could basically make out the diffuser and see all the work that the Ferrari team have put into it. He's really close this time going into the Senna S, but Sean keeps the inside line well. Good defending one more time from the Ferrari, and Nico's going to have to try one more time, but he's getting closer and closer and closer with every lap that goes by. Here we go down into turn 4. Does he fancy a lunge? He thinks better off it. Meanwhile, Vettel Racer on an easy DRS pass on track session down into turn 1. That was done well before the turn was done, and that is another position for the Sauber. Don't forget, Sauber are fighting with Toro Rosso in the Constructors' Championship, as well as Casper with Eagle for second in the drivers, so we'll obviously come to that at the end of the race once everything is finished and all the dust is settled, and bring you up to speed with who is where and where is what. But this battle between Sean and Nico is still going on. We're now on to lap 28 of 36. It's been some brilliant defensive driving from Sean. He's put his car in all the right places. He's kept the battery just for where he needs it. Keeps Nico bottled up through the middle sector, which is really hard to make an overtake. And at the moment, he's shown the absolute true defensive skills of a champion.
Yeah, he is. Oh yeah, exactly that. He is a champion. He's putting on a champion's drive. You compare this Sean to the Sean we saw in Germany, making silly mistakes that could cost him big points and big races. He's probably been the standout star since that race, since the second half of the season. He has picked up another tyre penalty there, which has pretty much condemned him to potentially 4th, depending on how things go and whether penalties get removed. But yeah, Sean is doing very well, even though he's picking up silly time penalties. I want to quickly do a side mention. You discussed there about drivers we may see in the coming seasons and next season dropping down, and just taking a quick look at the sort of times and the positions of the championship down in F3. We'll quickly mention F3. Championship leader down there is Demon, who could actually wrap up the championship if he outscores his teammate today down in F3. So if he wins the championship, then he will be promoted up into this tier, so it would be a guarantee to see him. You've also got Sergi, Dan the Snake and Pitmat, who are the top 4, and I reckon all 3 of them would probably do a very solid job. I know that Pitmat, for example, is probably a similar sort of pace as Cherry 2 Pie, and he also runs a pad, so that should be quite interesting. From F1, drop downs maybe, I mean, I wouldn't say drop down, it's probably tighter racing, probably less spread out, because the top guys there in Roy, Michael and Lucas are absolutely rapid. But yeah, you've got the likes of Jay Fawn, who's an experienced driver, Big C, of course, is racing countless championship, RC Alonso as well. So yeah, I think there's a good mix of drivers that I think if we maybe see a couple from F3, a couple from F1, mixed in with the bag we have, because it feels like, I'm not sure about you, Andy, but it feels like we're very much due for a transfer window. We're an up and coming, a plucky underdog, and we're going to lose all our good drivers, Sean and probably Casper, maybe Lee Findlay as well, H Eagle. They're going to get plucked and taken up to the top tier, the Premier League, if you will. So we're going to have to try and scout some future stars. We could even see, maybe a fair shout out, we could see some F4, F5 drivers if they really make that step up. Maybe the plucky underdog over there. Who's going to be the next Casper?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, some of the names that you mentioned there, Lucas, Big C, certainly names that I know. There's some of them that I'm not too up to speed on either, so it makes it really, for me personally, and even for some of the viewers possibly as well, it makes it intriguing when we get to next season for season 17, and I'm really looking forward to it already. We've not even finished this season yet, and we've still got a fantastic battle for the lead, although I think Nico's probably just backing out a little bit because he knows he's got the advantage when it comes to the penalty point situation, but he's a racer, he's probably going to want to try and do it on the road. But season 17, even though we're going to lose the likes of, as you say, Sean, Casper, etc., it is shaping up to be really, really interesting indeed. We've got some really good racers in here. We've got some really tight, close racing. The midfield scrap this year has been phenomenal at just about every round, and next season could be even tighter still. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, but we need to finish season 16 first. We've got one more round next week at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, and we've still got the last 5 or 6 laps of this race to go, but season 17 is bound to be really good. And if you want to get involved, get yourself across to the Apex Online Racing forums and look out for the sign-ups for season 17, which will come in the next month or so after the current esports team event is finished, I would imagine. But if you want to get involved, you could maybe be on this stream next season, depending on how quick you are. You can sign up on the forums in the coming months, so keep an eye out for that.
If you try and steal my commentary job, I will find you, and I will destroy your microphone. So yeah, keep keeping your lane in that regard, Matt. We obviously, the AOR is a growing league and always needs plenty of new faces, and I'm looking forward to obviously next week as well. Just to come up with a quick little thought there, potentially we could have a little F2 award ceremony during qualifying as we run through mine and Andy's picks of the season. It could be race of the season, dry hands out, and just little accolades, moment of the season, crash of the season, drama of the season. I think we can have a quick guess what drama of the season might be, and it involves the colour black, and it may involve a certain flag that could have been raised for somebody, but the drama has kind of died down here this afternoon. Lap 32 of 36, Nico onto Sean, and it is a real mature performance from Sean. Quick side note, though, Lee Findlay is gaining quite rapidly,
and he's, as you say, it's him and Casper haven't picked up any penalties, and I think you said earlier on they hadn't even picked up a single warning, and that's something we've seen from those two quite often this season as well. I remember the excitement of you with yourself at Monza, if you remember correctly. That's definitely going to be commentator's moment for the season, surely, was when Casper got promoted up to third on penalties at Monza. You were absolutely delighted at that one. You were pretty much the biggest fanboy going that night. But yeah, a wee bit of an award ceremony during qualifying next week could be interesting. I'm going to need to rack my brain though during the week to try and remember a few bits and bobs, because it's been a long season. We've been doing this since September time, and it's ran all the way through to now, so it's definitely going to be one I'm going to need to go and rack my brain on, but I'm definitely up for putting a few accolades out next week during qualifying for sure.
Yeah, we'll come up with a quick award ceremony, so we'll come up with some categories, and stay tuned as well. We'll try and keep interacting with the chat, and what we will do as well, and this is a promise, is we're going to get some drivers in after the race for our final post-race interview of the season. We'll hear from obviously Sean, and hopefully we'll hear from the icon himself. Hashtag points of capacity. We'll try and get as many drivers in as possible, and we'll try and have one final party with some of the drivers we're probably not going to see in F2. Maybe not again, but definitely for a while. I'm thinking Casper and Sean, for example, two standout performers and two standout drivers. So we'll look forward to that, and that should be a classic in Abu Dhabi, one final Sunday of F2 racing. It's been a great year. I'd say it's been I wouldn't say it's been a championship classic. It's been one where we thought we had chances, and I've got to say, if we look back to September, as you mentioned, all that time ago in Melbourne, when Ash picked up the race victory and we all thought Ash was going to be the championship favourite, and then out of nowhere, this Dutchman in his dressing gown came out of absolutely nowhere and blitzed the field and has picked up some fantastic performances. Every single race, you look at Sean, he could start dead last, he could start first, and you'd look at him and you'd say, he could easily win this Grand Prix.
Well, definitely so. I mean, if you go for Sean, from Australia up to that terrible race he had in Germany, he had one poor race in Baku at 9th. Apart from that, he finished no lower than 6th, picking up 3 victories and 2 second places in that period. So he's had some phenomenal consistency. The back end of the season, since Belgium, he's never been outside the top 6. 3 wins, 2 seconds and a third. It could easily have been 5 wins if it hadn't been for penalties. So he has shown some brilliant pace all season long, out of nowhere. And I would say overall over the season, considering that consistency, definitely a worthy champion. But there's plenty in there. You know, Casper's tail end of the season has been absolutely brilliant as well, with some great consistency. Lee Finlay could have been up there as well if he just got it together in the early part of the season. His tail end has been pretty decent as well. A wee bit more consistency could have been good for him. We could have been looking at an absolute right ding dong going into Abu Dhabi, still with a title up for grabs. But things happen the way it is. We've had plenty of action through the field. The midfield especially has been absolutely phenomenal to watch, and we've got one more race, as you say, next week at Abu Dhabi before the season finishes. Sean is coming across the line to start his final lap of the race. He is 1.2 seconds clear of Nico. You can see Lee Finlay just in the background there. Now, could Lee Finlay possibly be about to pick up a victory on penalty points? That could be interesting, because you said Nico's got at least 3 seconds, Sean's got about 6, I think you said, and Lee didn't have any, so he's within range at the moment. Watch the timing screens as they come across the line next time by. Tactician still trying to make his way past Vettel Racer into turn number 1. The Red Bull's going to try and go a long way round. The Sauber positions itself very nicely indeed to hold the race in line. He's now going to have to do it one more time down towards turn number 4, and then Tactician's only going to have one more chance to do anything on this last lap. He's going to Vettel very nicely positioned his car in the middle of the track, a little bit of a lock up there, but no way through for Tactician at this point in time, heading up towards Ferradura for the last time. He's going to try and sneak it up the inside there. He's got the inside line nearly. No, he's not got close enough, and he has to back out of it. But Sean's coming up the hill, and like the last 2 races as well, it's going to be the 3rd race in a row that he's going to cross the line in first place. But is he going to keep it? I don't think so. But Sean crosses the line on the road. He wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Nico comes across in 2nd place, and Lee Finlay's retired on the line. He's crashed out on the line. He's messed up completely. Unbelievable there. That puts Sean into 3rd, Casper up to 2nd, Ash takes 4th, which is probably his best result since Australia, I think. Kiski goes into 5th place. Vettel Racer will take 6th just. Well, no he doesn't, because Tactician jumps ahead in penalties. Vettel in 7th, and Jim Pasty is going to finish in 8th. Lee Finlay, as the Jim Pasty fan club rings its applause in the background there. But Lee Finlay, that could have been the victory on penalties, and he's binned it on the line. What an unbelievable turn of events.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's a glitch of some kind, because it feels like he was across the line, and whether or not that's going to get looked into and he may get his classification. It seems strange there, because it looks like he's crossed the line, but celebrations go out to the Williams team and Nico, who has won this Grand Prix, his first race victory. And a good way to kick things off. He's on the podium with some elegant guys in that regard. What has happened though is that means that Casper has picked up 15 points from this Grand Prix as things currently stand, and that means he's one step closer to picking up that 2nd place in the championship. So let's run through the classifications
8 points
of that. yeah, well, let's quickly run through the classifications. Oh yeah, 18 points. Yeah, sorry, yeah, he got second. Nico won from Casper and Sean in third. Ash in fourth, as you mentioned, his best performance since Australia, round 1, back in September. Kieski in fifth, makes it a 5-6 for the Flying Finns. A good day for the Finns overall. 6th place for Tactician, 7th place for Vessel, 8th place for the mighty one, Jim Passy, 9th place for Lee Findlay, who DNF, whether or not he finishes there or not is yet to be seen. Then it's DNS for Blizzard, Joglar, Dan Daniel, Johan, H Eagle, Ruben and Cherry 2 Pie. Feels like forever ago that Cherry 2 Pie crashed out on the 4th corner. That is your classifications. Congratulations to the top 3. We will now try our best to get them into the party. I'm not sure if Nico even knows we do interviews, so that's going to be interesting. What I will do though is I'm going to try and get Lee Findlay in to ask for his opinion on that and what happened. So we'll try and hear from him. But we're obviously going to get the boys, if you like, Sean, who's obviously a big influence in these parties sometimes. Lee Findlay, of course, we'll ask him one question and one question only, because it will take him a good 5 hours to respond to whatever question I come up with. So it could take a while. We are now slowly getting them in. It's just because we're both Scottish, we know how to talk. I mean, you've seen what I've done on single solo streams, for crying out loud. Come on. Yeah, he's going to talk 6 hours about Scottish football and why it's superior to every other type of football. The Scottish League is the greatest, and you cannot change my mind. And even I wouldn't try and have that argument. We are joined by Casper. To begin with, we're slowly going to get people in. Lee Findlay, for example, I'm going to get him in as well, so we can hear what happened and why he crashed across the line, whether it is a mistake or something happened, or whether he thinks it's a glitch or whatnot. But we'll slowly start filtering. Andy, who are you going to put down as your driver of the day, though, for that Brazilian Grand Prix? I'm going to be too obvious. I know what your one's going to be. I'm going to go with Nico for his first victory, because he has shown some good pace at points in the season, and to get a victory before the end of the season, I think he deserves it from the pace that he's had in some places. So I'll give it to the race victor that we have at the moment. I think there's going to be no surprises for who you're probably going to go for, though. Yeah,
Fan club and all.
My driver of the day is goes simply to the greatest driver of all time. He's the undisputed F2 champion, and in fact some people have described him as a future Formula 1 champion. Of course, Jim Pastey gets my driver of the day vote. Hashtag points for Pastey will be trending worldwide once again. Sean, I'm expecting one hell of a striptease for Jim Pastey. Mighty elegance. We are going to try and get Nico in. I'm not sure if he's aware that we do these. I'm going to do my best, but we'll start for questions off, I reckon. But what I'm going to do is, instead of starting with Casper, who technically finished second, I'm going to start with Lee, who crossed the line, and if he would have crossed the line without the crash, would have won this Grand Prix. So Lee, we'll start with you. Happy Sunday. What happened?
I was right behind Nico. My tyre blew up, and then it just put me in the wall, and that's it, really.
So it was just a fluke, a complete accident.
Yeah, I lost control of the car. The tire blew up, and yeah, I don't know if my car crossed the line or not, but I had no control of the car. It put me in the wall, and yeah, I have no words really, but this would have been my first victory of the season, because I had no penalties, and then for it to be taken away from me on the straight, really, I just have no words really, but I just have to. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I just have to take it as it goes, and yeah.
Well, commiserations to you. Quick update, Nico will not be joining us because he has put in the chat he doesn't know how to speak English for the interview. He did put that message in English, so I'm a little bit confused. The Matrix. I mean, let's be fair, Andy doesn't speak very good English, but it doesn't stop him from commentating. So, I mean, oi. Not exactly a great excuse, is it?
The insults are coming in. Jesus.
We'll move plenty shade being thrown here tonight. Come on, that's not fair.
Well, I've won the predictions championship. I get to do what I want. I spent 1 week in F1. I am above this. We'll move on to Casper, who has finished in P2, picking up 18 points and all but wrapping up his charge for second place in the championship. Casper, your mum and dad will obviously watching. They're very proud, and the sort of performance you put in this afternoon, it was a good recovery from qualifying, where you dropped down a little bit during the pit stops and looked like you had the pace, but after Blizzard got past you, it seemed like you had the pace, but you just didn't have the competitive nature compared to Sean and Nico, who kind of pulled away.
Yeah, first of all, I feel really bad for Lee. This was his race victory. He should have won this race. Superb drive from him. I don't know how to... what I need to say to him now, but yeah. About my race, I was leading and then Blizzard overtook me. I was kind of letting him go through because I knew he was using me to stay with me and just saving ERS. So I thought, well, let's save ERS now and change the roles. And yeah, then we entered the pit lane and Blizzard broke too early and I smashed into the back of him and got wing damage. So the pit crew changed my front wing immediately and I lost like 6 seconds because of it. Since then my pace was very consistent, but I think I was like 2 to 3 tenths lap slower than Sean.
Was it just you not expecting him to brake early when it comes to the pit stops? Was you not expecting that earlier pit braking? Because Andy was looking elsewhere, and then all of a sudden I looked on board with you, and it just seemed like the car come to a standstill ahead of you, out of nowhere, and you just lost the front wing.
Yeah, he broke way too early for my liking. It's unfortunate. Those things happen, but yeah, I don't think I should be too angry because I still got second place and I can be happy with it. But yeah.
Well, congratulations on P2, one step closer to second in the championship. But some drivers in this press conference, second place isn't good enough. They like to win things, don't they, Sean? Even though you finished third this afternoon for the third week running, as Andy pointed out in commentary, you crossed the line as the race winner. For the second week running, you picked up too many penalties that has cost you the race victory.
I'm gonna stop you right there. That incident with Cherry and who was it again? I mean, Cherry had
Ruben.
an incident.
Ruben.
Who? Ruben,
It
yeah.
was Sherry and Ruben.
Yeah, I had to avoid him, and I could narrowly avoid him, but all of a sudden I got a 3-second time penalty out of that. So, but now I unfortunately can't remove that because my gameplay decided to record it on lap 3. So, whip. Otherwise, I would maybe get the win.
We do have footage in the stream.
Yeah,
of me going through I went through the race director. So if you want to go through the race director, I went on board with your thing. So if you want to grab that to use it, we are more than welcome to. I want to mention the incident with Cherry Tupa. I've spoken to your best friend about it, and he apparently believes there was desync involved. What did it look like from your point of view?
I mean, it was sort of this. They went side by side, and on my screen, they didn't hit each other. And I saw Ruben, going spin towards my direction. So I went already to the left, but then they hit my car, and then all of a sudden I got a time penalty for that. So that really hindered me. And I got so frustrated because the goat passed the... also in qualifying decided to block me into the final corner. So I couldn't get a good quality out of that, and I validated on my...
It's your fault. You should
It's probably my fault.
You should have let him go.
Yeah, I think I should deserve a punishment, and...
That's your championship gone. Congratulations, Casper. You are the new champion. Sean is disrespected Cathy. He's disrespected Cathy. Congratulations to Casper, the superior judgment of that turn.
Did I hear correctly that Sean collided with Cherry Tupa?
Hey, yeah, Casper, no. Don't speak. LG, you, don't talk. I'm the champion. You can... S-U-S my B.
And I think we'll call that one quits there before we get pulled off the
air. I've got one final
Keep it
question
clean.
for Sean. Yes, one final question for Sean. Actually, two things. One's a statement, one's a question. The statement is next week we're having a big farewell party post-race interview. We're going to have all of the classics. We're going to have as many people in the party as possible to say farewell. We're going to have the greatest driver of all time, Jim Pasty, here. We'll try and get a good farewell. Send you off into F1 with grace and elegance. The final question I have for you this afternoon is about next season, where you will be promoted to the top class. It has been a trend where in recent weeks and throughout the season you have picked up quite a few penalties. Do you think you have to iron that out if you want a chance of succeeding in the top class?
Well, obviously I need to score less penalties, but at other circuits as well, but I got more penalties, was just pure unluckiness, especially this race. So I think in other races I can keep it clean. You know, I'm not really like a flawless type of guy, I guess. Yeah, I think if I'm going to be in the top tier, I think I'm going with the same approach. You know, just don't get too many corner cut penalties. But yeah, I think it's gonna work unless it is a track like Monza, I guess. So. Yeah, I think I'm looking forward. You know, it's quite a chance to get less penalties because I'm not a clean driver like Lee or Casper. So it's going to be a very interesting next or Jerry, yes, or so I'm looking forward. Bessie, yeah, also yes, Bessie.
Yes, of course, great. Well, yeah, that's it. That's the final sort of podium interview, you could say, until next week's big farewell party. Andy will have an update on the championship. I'll quickly say thank you to Casper, Sean and Lee for joining us.
You're welcome.
Nico. But Andy, give us an update on the championship standings. I think there'll be one little Dutch boy and his parents that might be quite happy with what you're about to say.
Well, I believe so indeed. First up, Nico with the win there has now pretty much doubled his tally. He started tonight on 26 points, he's now on 51, so well done to him on his first victory. Another race victor in F2 this season. Sean's broke the 300 point barrier now, obviously he was already champion. Casper is now on 233 points, so it's a 22 point gap to the H Eagles. So basically 8th place or higher for Casper next week pretty much guarantees it. Anything lower than that, H Eagle needs to be winning. So it's got to be a win. It's win or bust for the H Eagle next week. And it's pretty much going to be a long shot. It's going to be the equivalent of Burton Albion trying to beat Man City in the Carabao Cup a few months back. It's not going to happen probably, but you never know. H Eagle might show us up there and prove me to be completely wrong, because he is a very good racer indeed. Lee Finlay had a great chance to put himself further closer to that battle and pull away from the likes of Tactician behind, but his retirement means he's still on 163. Tactician moves ahead of Davidos on 154 points. Davidos stays in 149, since he wasn't here tonight. And 7th in the championship, believe it or not, is RC Spider on 100 points, and he's hardly been here for the second half of the season. It just shows you what 2 race victories will do for you.
That is.
It is
That's
indeed.
Really impressive.
In the constructors, Ferrari 451 points, had it wrapped up 2 races ago in Austin. Salba now dropped to 3rd place on 284 points. Toro Rosso now into 2nd in the constructors on 290. So that is still all up for grabs next week. McLaren on 4th and 238, and I didn't do the rest of them because it was too far back. Unfortunately, I think Red Bull are on 219 or something like that, not too far away from McLaren, but need a wee bit of luck next week. And with Tactician basically running solo tonight, no Ayamotti. Don't know if he'll be here next week. It could be a tricky one. They'll likely finish 5th, but 2nd still up for grabs in the constructors. Casper does look to have it in the drivers, but a win for the H Eagle next week. Casper taken out in turn 1. You never know. It could happen. It has been done before, but that wraps up the Brazilian Grand Prix coverage for this evening. Join us next week at 8 o'clock here for the Abu Dhabi end of season farewell party. We're going to have all sorts of stuff going on. I'm sure me and Ollie will come up with plenty to keep you entertained in the chat, so come and join us next week for that, and we'll do our best to entertain you for one final time in season 16 on a Sunday night. But for myself, Ollie, all the drivers, everyone at AOR, thank you very much for watching once again, and until next week, we'll see you again soon. Ta-da.